sports. It's in the game.
Hello, everybody. Actually, had my headphones around the wrong way. Everybody, and welcome back. Intertier is back for more entertainment. Well, last time we were in Singapore, where Pesci did come home with the win, but we saw Merck finish ahead of Mr. P to give him a 4-point lead in the championship with 2 rounds to go. Very interesting fight that those two have had all season. And hopefully a very good end as we have 2 rounds to go. We do have 16 drivers on track today, which is beautiful to see. The Intertier hasn't had up to 16 drivers for a while. We've just had, I think the max we've had is 12 in the past few weeks. It's really good to see drivers show up and race, because it is a tier that allows any driver to race from tier 1 all the way down to tier 3. So you're not prohibited to race in the tier 3 intertier. So we do expect a lot of drivers, and that's what we get today. This is Abu Dhabi. It is round 11, and which of the drivers between Mr. P and UFRL Merck can put one hand on the title to finish ahead of the latter? That is what's important. What's up, guys? What's up, everybody in the chat? Hopefully everyone is excited for this race. I am actually very excited for the race. It's been a while since I did comes with 16 drivers. The Intertier has been entertaining us with 11-10 drivers, so there's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be an interesting race. A race that no one would want to miss. It was a good one in the 100% tier yesterday, where we had Viva and Combs. A good race of a very tricky race in Qatar. A race that was successful in the end. And another tier that's Merck is actually fighting for a championship. He is fighting for a championship in 2 tiers. Also, his championship rival, Mr. P, will be fighting for a championship in tier 1 too. So we do have 2 drivers who know how to fight for a championship, fighting for one here in the Intertier. That's why it's an interesting one. And they haven't come together, which is very impressive, because most time when you have 2 drivers going for it, there should be a coming together here or there. But they've shown professionalism, they've shown real respect to push hard, but to avoid hitting each other or compromising the other's race. We should be starting anytime soon. I have a lot of drivers here. I believe that's all the drivers that should be here. Here we go. Viva and Monk are ready up, and yep, we are on our way. Abu Dhabi round 11, UFRL Intertier. First off, we do have short qualifying. Who is going to be driver to put themselves on pole position? It was CPI Mateus last time with an absolutely stonker of a lap on his last run to beat Pesci just by 0.08 of a second. Pesci came in P2, but he couldn't complete that pole position where he did DNF on his own, not fault of any other driver. And I know surely he will want to put that behind him and come home with a win this time, CPI Mateus. But it's a difficult one with multiple quick drivers on track today. We do have the likes of Mr. P and Merck, our championship contenders, Destroyer Drac, Tijani, Shadow, and also a few other tier 1 drivers who could give Pesci and Mateus a good fight. We'll see what's going to happen in Abu Dhabi. Very interesting track. Sometimes you question, do you want to go for enough downforce to fly through the corners as quick as possible, or do you want to take advantage of the lots of straights that this track does currently have after a change of the chicane in the after the second DRS zone? It's now a faster chicane, so faster racing through there, unlike old times in Abu Dhabi. But see how the drivers can go through this. The question now, as we always ask, is who is going to be the first driver to come out and set the time. It's always Angry Badger. It's always the Aston Martin, the teammate of our championship leader, Angry Badger, to come out and set a time. And let's see what he does this time. A little bit squirrely, almost losing the back end in the pits. But he's all nice and good and clean. And what time is he going to set? He is one driver who's eager to always come out to start his time. I think this is the 4th Grand Prix in a row that he's been the first driver to come out and set a time. But who would be following him next? It's going to be Viva and a Ferrari of Shadow. Are going to be 2 drivers that are going to be after him. And we'll see how these drivers do, see how they fare here in qualifying, see what time they set. I don't know what the weather will be looking like for the main race, but for now we do have a dry qualifying. It's going to be quick, it's going to be intense, and which driver will have the ability to keep his nerve, put himself as high as he can. But the first driver we're going to follow is going to be Angry Badger in the Aston Martin. And we'll see what he can do. Going to the 3rd sector now. Almost close to the start finish straight. 2 starts his lap. The one driver who will be trying to help his teammates UFRL today to grab the champ, put one hand on the championship. He is 4 points ahead of Mr. P. He will need to finish ahead of Mr. P if he wants to extend those points going to the last Grand Prix of the season, which will be next week. He just needs to make sure he finishes his races in front of Mr. P, or the other way around. Mr. P needs to make sure that he finishes the races in front of Merck, and hopefully Merck doesn't finish 1 place behind him most of the time, especially if he doesn't finish on the podium. Here we go, on to Angry Badger now on a lap, and we'll see what he says. The first sector 17.5 is Shadow in the Ferrari going to beat that time. When he crosses the first sector, it's a 17.6 for him. He doesn't beat the time that the Aston Martin has set, and we'll see what they do when they finish in 2nd sector. The Ferrari versus the Aston Martin first, 2 sets at a time. Going to the chicane now. Nice and clean from the Aston Martin. Touches the apex, doesn't go wide there, makes sure he keeps his car on track, activating the DRS, and is getting to the 2nd sector line down. And what time is he going to set here? It's a 53.5 from him. And can the Ferrari of Shadow beat that time this time? A 53.1. There you go, 4/10 faster than Angry Badger. Between them now, who is going to set the time? That is going to be provisional pole as Angry Badger now gets into the final corners of the track. And what time is he going to set? CPI Mateus on Inter tires. Interesting call from him there, but he might have a qualifying bang. And here we go now into the final corner, passing the start finish line. And what's he going to set? It's a 124.0 for Aston Martin. Can the Ferrari beat that time? No, he can't. He invited to this time and he's going to bail out and jump into the pits for new fresh tires. And for now, the Aston Martin is your provisional pole sitter. Next to cross the line was Viva, but it looks like he's taking his time to burn as much fuel as he can. Dog is going to, in the Mercedes, is going to be next. Almost going wide there, almost going to the wall. You see what is going to happen now. to the final corner. Can he beat that time that Angry Badger in the Aston Martin has set? Nice and clean, not going wide, and yes he does. Provisional pole position for the Mercedes driver, as Viva now goes P3 with a 125.3, but now he's pushing on his lap because he's full on that ERS, and to get a 125.3 without using the ERS is actually a very good time, and we'll see what he can do on this his fast lap. Down who's next now to cross the line is going to be the AlphaTauri of Destroyer Drag, and can he now be the driver to put himself in provisional pole position as the AlphaTauri crosses the line? Is 123.4, the first drivers into the 123, and he's now provisional pole position. The Alfa Romeo is going to be next. It was Mr. P in the Alfa Romeo, the championship contender, 123.1, puts himself in front where he will want to be for the Grand Prix. Can his contender and the championship leader of Merck beat that time that he has set? As Energy Dan now will begin his lap to try and see if he can set a time as good as his teammate just did. The Mercedes of Doug should be coming into the pace because he has set his time. But the question now is, as Mr. P sits on top, what is Merck going to do to answer to that? On the medium tires they have from Aston Martin now, when will he be coming out of the pace to set a time? As the Mercedes of Doug did go for another push lap, he did improve by 800ths of a second, but he does not improve his place. He's going to stay in P3. Viva though, crossing the line 2, doesn't improve on his time. 1/10 down on his quickest time, and he will try again to try and beat that time that he has set. The fastest third sector for Tijani as he puts himself P2 right behind our championship contender. 500ths of a second behind the Alfa Romeo, the Red Bull. And what can his teammate do? Will going into the place, and he's not going to set a time. He might have invalidated in this time, as the AlphaTauri is going to be next now, and he also will be going into the pit of the Destroyer Drag and currently sits in P3. Which driver now can beat that 123? And surely if they do, that will be your pole sitter as Stickman now on and out lap, about to begin his lap, and we'll see what he can set. I think Doggy will finish the race. He will finish in the top 6. I believe in him. I'll see what is going to happen. As the Haas of Coffee, one driver who's been showing a lot of pace, showing a lot of promise, but still has failed to get that win this season. A win that he surely is looking for, desperate for. And we'll see if circumstances can come to him and he can grab that win here in the Entertain Abu Dhabi. Crossing the line next is the Ferrari of Shadow, and he is going to start a new lap. We'll see what he does. In front of him was Viva, who I believe has been on multiple laps on the side, 3 laps on those tires, as he's pushing on those tires to try and keep improving. 124.8 for him. He did improve on the first time that he set, but still currently sitting in P7, and we'll see if he can improve on that time. Purple first sector now for the Ferrari of Shadow. In the second sector, open up his DRS, and we'll see what he can do. A quick driver, one of the tier 1 drivers, spotting that Ferrari, that black and red Ferrari. One of the first drivers to set a time. He is pushing on his second fast lap now. He did pull out on the first lap, or right at the final corner, but we'll see what he's going to do, making sure that he doesn't invalidate. There we go. 2 purple sectors now, and can he beat the time that the Alfa Romeo in front has set of a 123.0? Can he be the first drivers into the 122s, into the third sector now? What can the Ferrari do with a few corners to go, making sure he's keeping it clean, not invalidating there, going a little bit wide there, making sure that one of his tires are on track with 1 corner to go? Can the Ferrari get that provisional pole position? He crosses the start-finish line, and he doesn't. It's a 123.3 for the Ferrari, just behind Tijani, and he pushed out with 2 purple sectors, but couldn't click it right at the end to put his car in front, as Wilco will be starting his lap in the Red Bull, followed by the Haas of Pesci, who has right at the time, but he will be pushing on this lap. Pesci, one driver that does have very good qualifying pace, and can he beat the time that Mr. P has set? Mr. P championship contender though of Merck finally out of the pits and finally about to do his lap as the Williams driver will be going into the pits now. Then Viva, or actually Stickman, Viva's teammate, in front of the Aston Martin. Of which Aston Martin is that? In front of the Aston Martin of Merck, our championship leader, finally about to start the lap, and we'll see what he does when he crosses the start-finish line right at the end. He's going to be accompanied by his teammate, the first driver, 2 sets of time, and will be looking to improve on his time here in qualifying. Then the Haas of who else is in the Haas? Then the Haas of Coffee, who the 123.2, a good lap from him, puts himself in PT as there's yellow flags at the back. But it looks like it's just drivers moving out of the way. Ooh. I believe I'm moving out of the way for drivers to go through to make sure that he doesn't impede anyone on a push lap. The Red Bull is next of Wilco on his first fast lap. Just finishing it now, and it's a 127.9 for Wilco. Stays down in P12. The Haas is going to be next of United Pesci. We do know he's one of the quickest drivers in the tier. As he gets to the final corner now, a little bit squarely there. And the question to start finishing, now does he get pole position? Yes, he does. And he's the first driver into the 122s. Always the driver breaking the barrier of quick as the AlphaTauri now joins him in the 122.6, just a 10th right behind United Pesci. Exactly just a 10 behind him, and that's a very quick lap from Destroyer Track. A lot of pace the drivers are shown here today, with 16 drivers on track. Very unpredictable. As the Aston Martin of Merck now is going to cross the line, and he's down in P12 with a 124.4, but he looks like he'll be pushing on another lap with all that ERS remaining. Then his teammate behind him, Angry Badger, still on 124.0 in that P9, and we'll see if he can improve on that time and move up on the grid. Here we go now, Merck with the fastest first sector, and what can he do when he finishes his lap? He will be looking at his championship contender, Mr. P, currently sitting in P3, and will be wanting to finish ahead of him here in qualifying. But that's the best way to start, to put one hand in your championship. You wouldn't want to start too far back, especially in a track like Abu Dhabi, which it does look like it's easy to make overtakes, but it's also quite easy to defend as long as you're quite aggressive. And surely the drivers in front of Merck will give him quite a hard time if he wants to claw the way back from P12 to catch Mr. P, who's currently sitting in the top 3. So he will want to start in front as the Mercedes now of Dog about to start the lap. Can you improve on the time that he has set of a 123.9? Then it's going to be the Alpine. I believe that's Viva in the Alpine, who's finally going into pits after 5 laps on those soft tires. Then the Williams of Aldry finally starting the lap, and we'll see what he does as Mark now puts his car on pole position. 122.4 from UFRL Merck. One driver who has been improving over the season, showing more and more pace as the races go on. Our championship leader now has put himself on provisional pole with 5 minutes to go here in qualifying. Who can knock him down? One driver who will be watching what he's doing is Mr. Poem, who's currently sitting in the pits. He wants to go out soon to set a push lap. He wants to go for 1 or 2 more laps, and we'll see what he can do. Here you go. He's out now, and he's looking at that time. He's looking at his contender in P1 while he's in P4 and saying, I want to get up there. I want to be ahead of the Aston Martin. Back to the Red Bull of Tijani, who will be starting his lap now. Another quick driver. He's currently sitting on 123.1 and surely can improve on that time. He's going to be followed by the Mercedes of Dog, who's trying to improve on his time. Coming out to the final corner now, making sure he doesn't go wide there, crossing the line, and he does improve in time by 5/10, but it only goes up to P8 or 123.4 for Dog and Mercedes. A good lap from him, and we'll see what he can do in the race. Next is going to be Alfa Romeo of Energy Dan, the teammates of the championship contender, in just his second race here in Intertier after a good performance in Singapore. After a very questionable start, he did claw back to get the P5. We'll see what he can do here in Abu Dhabi. Mr. Preb now making sure that his car is light as possible to beat that time that Merck has set of 122.4 in front as the Ferrari now is going to be next to cross the line. Shadow showing a lot of pace on and out lap now, and he wants to beat the time that the drivers in front of him have set. He wants to get into the 122s. If he does, he can set himself in the top 4, or maybe provisional pole position that the Aston Martin sits on right now. Down to the Red Bull, going to be next to cross the line. And Tijani, what is he going to do on his lap? He did cross the line before, but it looks like he's going to go on his push lap now as we speak. While Shadow also on his push lap. Then the Haas of Coffee also about to start his push lap. The 3 drivers now, when they cross the start-finish line at the end of this lap, will set a time that they believe will be better than the time they have already set. Doug going into the pits, currently sitting in P8 for 123.4. And we'll see if he will come out again to set a time. Alfa Romeo of Energy Nando, crossing the line and going P11, 3/10 faster than the time that he set before, and he's going to currently sit in P11. We'll see if he can improve on that time. Mercedes off Perez, finally going for another lap, but 124 that he currently sits on behind his teammate who's P8 and has retired from the session. He looks like he's retired in the pit, so it wasn't a DNF for anything. He just retired from the session, and we'll see if he's comfortable enough to start in P8, and we'll see if any other driver can knock him off the P8 that he currently sits on, dog, in the Mercedes. But now to Shadow, one of the drivers who was on the lap, and we'll see what he can do. Can he improve on the time that he has set in that Scarlet Ferrari going into the pit? And on another lap bailed out by UFRL Shadow. He believed he wasn't faster than the time that he set before. But it's Tijani is going almost wide there, crossing the line, improving by 3/10, and it's not going to move up. But it's going to be 122.8, and the 4th driver now into the 122s. And now, can he improve on our time? With a few minutes to go, will he have enough time to go into the pits and set one more time? I do not know. But the Mercedes now is going to be next. It is Perez, the only Mercedes on track now, as Mateus didn't set the time. I believe he surely has a qualifying ban. As Perez now crossing the line, improving by 3/10 and moving up to P11 with a 123.7 for the Mercedes. With a few minutes to go here in qualifying, who is going to knock Merck off the top position in on the grid? As Mr. Prem now going into the pit, he believed his time wasn't quick enough to beat that time that has set the provisional pole position, and now the pressure is on for the Alfa Romeo. He sees his championship contender, the championship leader, all the way in P1 ahead of this man, United Pesci, who will be starting his lap, and we'll see if he can beat the time that Merck has set in front. The Red Bull of Tijani should surely be coming into the pit with 43 seconds to go in qualifying. That surely is the end for Mr. Prime. He's going to have to start in P5 while his championship contender maybe will be starting in P1. But there's one driver to watch, one driver we can see that can beat the time that Merck has set. Is going to be United Pesci, and we're going to watch him when he crosses the line. On and out now, Algeria in the Williams. Then it's going to be Viva, who's on the lap, and we're going to follow him to the line to see if he does improve on the time that he has set. We're currently sitting on a 123.7, the Alpine driver, with a few corners to go. He'll want to improve on the time. He'll want to jump into the 122s. If you want to be in the top 5, that's where you need to be. As he crosses the line now, he does improve by a tenth, and he goes up P10, 125. That will be the end for the Alpine, the end of qualifying for him, as Dan will also be going into the pit. Mercedes is the same thing. Red Bull of Wilco, can he finally improve on his time? He's 1 second ahead of the time that he has set, and 1.3 seconds increase, but he's going to stay in P14 with a 126.6, and that will be the end for him. But now, United Pesci, one more driver, the only driver that looks like he can beat the time that UFRL Merck has set, and here we go. They have now shootouts between Merck and Pesci. Pesci to the final corner now. Can he beat the time that Merck has set? Can he put himself on pole position for the second time, for the third time in 4 races? And no, he doesn't. It's P2 for him, and Merck surely now is going to be your pole sitter. He doesn't need to improve on his time, and he is going to be your pole sitter today. And there you go, the championship leader is going to start on the front row, right in front, and puts one hand on the championship, puts 1 point for getting pole position. That's what he needs. Now 5 points ahead of Mr. Poem. As the race, very, very interesting qualifying there. 5 minute break will resume at 22:28, and that's 5:28 for me. And I think that should be 10:28 for the rest of the drivers. And we'll be racing. And we'll see how this race is going to go. Mark is going to start in front. Mr. P is going to start in P5. And what strategy will they put off to get the win here today? And we'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, race should be starting anytime soon. Interesting track, 16 corners that the drivers will have to traverse. 2 DRS zones, one coming out of turn 5 and the other going into turn 8. Can these drivers make a very interesting race here in Abu Dhabi? A quite tricky track, but a very, very fun track to drive. It is one track that Mr. Poem, championship contender, doesn't really enjoy, and he's showing here with his championship contender Merck, our championship leader, right in front. He's sitting in P5. But here we go. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and his foot to the floor and go, go, go. A good start for the Haas, but even better start for UFRL Merck in front, and he's going to keep his lead now. Side by side, the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri go. He's going wide now, the AlphaTauri, trying to fight with Tijani, and can he get that fight done? The Alfa Romeo now is going to join this fight, and he's going to get ahead of this trash back. Yellow flags at the back, and it's a Ferrari going spinning round, and UFRL Shadow is going to be losing places now. But back to the front, the fight will continue as a Red Bull making a move on the Angry Badger right at the back. Wilco getting ahead, but here comes Pesci side by side with Merck. Is he going to dive down the inside? No, he's going to hold it back, and Mr. P now already up to P4, and that exactly is what he would need in his race here. Moves being made at the back as some drivers are making contact. It looks like CPI and Mateus with some of the drivers making contact at the back as UFRL Viva now 2 tenths behind Prezi Perez. Is he going to make the move? No, he's going to hold it back. 1 lap almost done here in the Abu Dhabi. The race just started. The 4 in front, very close together, fighting as Angry Energy Dan trying to make a move on Algeria, but Algeria is going to keep him behind as Pesci now is falling back. He goes for a spin, and that is going to be bad for United Pesci. Mark will not be complaining though, as he's now 1.1 second ahead of the man in P2. He's under pressure by Mr. Poem, and Mr. Poem too also falling back, going into the pit, and it looks like the Alfa Romeo might have damage, and he's now going into the pit, and this is not what he would need, not at all. As some drivers now will be getting past him. He's dropping all the way to the back. Damage. It looks like he got damage from the spin from Pesci in front. And this right here is what UFRL Merck would want. He would want to extend his championship from Mr. P behind him. And that is how he would be doing it, by the damage on the Alfa Romeo driver. But here we go now. Algeria very close to Viva, using a little bit of that ERS to try and make the move, but he can't. But can Viva do it? Can Viva go down the inside of Prezi Perez? He's going to hold it back, but Algeria is going to force too wide from Viva and him, but he can't get that move done. He's going to compromise himself though, and the Alfa Romeo is going to attack him, but now that is a virtual safety car as Shadow has DNF from the race. Looks like he made a mistake coming onto the hairpin here, and he has gone into the wall and brought out a virtual safety car. Not a good race for the Ferrari, but an interesting race at the start. A lot of position changes, and this is not what the championship contender of Mr. P would want to right now. Here your position changes, multiple position changes. The only drivers to stay in the same position from the start will be Merck, our leader, and share a drag at a drive-through penalty for CPI Mateus, and that is not what he would want right now in the Grand Prix. Tijani though in that DRS of Merck in front, and that's what he would want to try and get the move done. Merck though on those hard tires, and surely will be taking his time, making sure he can keep those hard tires long enough to actually battle the drivers behind him, as Doug now gets ahead of Wilco going into the pit. Wilco going into the pit, looks like another driver with damage, and there we go now. Angry Badger now very close to Energy Dan. Can he get the move done? No, he's going to hold it back, but Energy Dan is going to go a little bit deep there. Can Energy Badger take the opportunity? No, we can't. Still with the better exit as Dog goes around the outside of Stickman. These two have had multiple fights in different tiers, and can Dog get that move done and keep that move, keep himself in front of Stickman in P11? Yes, he does. Stickman though trying to fight it back, going a little bit wide, going off track there, and Doug is going to be side by side with him. They almost make contact as Stickman round the outside gets ahead of Doug, and the fight continues. Prezi Perez though round the outside of the Haas, and the Mercedes driver getting ahead of the Haas, putting himself into P4, and here we go now. Coffee has dropped down to P5 and will be under pressure from Viva in the LP. Tijani though, 3/10 behind Merck on those hard tires. His tires will be faster for now. Is he going to take the opportunity and get ahead of Merck, or is he just going to tuck behind and keep using that DRS? The better option will be to get ahead of the driver in the Aston Martin. Here we go now. The Red Bull and the Aston Martin squabbling in front as Destroyer Drag is just, he has the best view of this, and he's going to be another driver trying to look for an opportunity, trying to look for the position to get ahead of the true drivers who are squabbling in front. Energy down now, a little bit squarely there, trying to make a move, but that is not what he will need. Almost losing the back end as Doug now also attacking Stickman. Those two have a personal vendetta between themselves. But here we go now. Tijani using that DRS, gaining on the Aston Martin. Is he to the left or to the right? He's going to switch to the right. The Aston Martin is going to defend on the inside. And there they go now, side by side, going into the chicane. Mark is going to try and keep it round the outside of the Red Bull, but there's nothing he can do. Better traction, better grip, and the Red Bull gets in front. The AlphaTauri though also going to use this opportunity and attack, but Merck though is going to fight it back, and he's going to put himself back in front of the lead of the race. And now Destroyer Drag round the outside of Tijani, side by side. The Red Bull cars go, and Destroyer Drag now has put himself in P2. Beautiful fight that they're having in front as Energy down now trying to attack Algeri, but he can't get that move done. Coffee 2/10 behind Prezi Prez, who is keeping the Haas driver behind, but the Haas driver is going to put the pressure on him to make sure that he gets that move done. Back to the front now as these three squabbling very hard. The championship leader under pressure from the two Red Bull drivers, one from the AlphaTauri team and one from the Red Bull team itself. Taking the wide line, Tijani there to try and have the better entry and exit out of this corner than Destroyer Drag. Destroyer Drag slightly defending it to make sure he doesn't get that move done. And here we go now. Merck still leads the way, but Destroyer Drag and Tijani are going to have that DRS as Energy down now gets ahead of Algeri in P8, and he got ahead of him coming out of turn 2. And here we go now. Merck is going to switch to the left side, trying to defend from Destroyer Drag, but Destroyer Drag, as the wheels turn round, is gaining on him to the left side now. Destroyer Drag takes the lead of the race, and Tijani is going to hold back and going to try and use that DRS to attack Merck again. Who's going to have the DRS, Merck or Destroyer Drag in front? It's going to be Merck. Is he going to fight it back again? Because Tijani is right behind him, tucking right behind the slipstream, gaining on the AlphaTauri in front, but it's going to stick like this. One is going to be Destroyer Drag, Merck is going to be in P2, and now Tijani with a better grip is going to go side by side with Merck. Merck trying to defend this on the inside, doing his best, and a great job that he has done there to keep him behind, as Algeri now has gotten ahead of Energy down, back ahead with the DRS zone and put himself in P7. It's a 6-way battle now between these cars at the back, from Coffee, from actually Prezi Prez all the way down. Uwa says a little bit of confusion there as Algeri goes way wide, and almost goes into him as he's going into the pits now. I believe he probably has damage and will be changing his tires and his way. Here we go now. Viva putting pressure on Coffee. He's also putting pressure on Prezi Prez in front. We are going to head to the front where UFRL Merck is trailing Destroyer Drag. He does have that DRS. Can he get that move done? He wouldn't want Tijani behind to get that move on him. I will see how it goes now. Destroyer Drag leading the race. Tijani putting pressure on Merck and getting ahead of Merck, putting himself in P2. The hard tire runner is going to settle for that P3 and just follow the rest in front. But back to these drivers who are squabbling now. Coffee side by side with Prezi Prez. Who is going to get the move done? Coffee is still ahead of him. Prezi Prez trying to stick it down the inside, but he's not going to. And Viva is going to use that opportunity to get ahead of Prezi. Side by side they go into the hairpin. Who is going to be ahead? Who is going to have the better straight line speed? As now Prezi Prez round the outside is going to keep his place on Viva, but Viva still fighting it hard. The Mercedes and the Alpine drivers squabbling in front, but Prezi Prez is going to keep that place in P5. Exemplary fighting between those drivers now, and the race will go on as the soft tire runner of Energy Down will want to use his soft tires to get in front, but they will start to degrade at this point in the race. Well, if he wants to get the move done, he should start getting them done now, because he would definitely need to be going into the pit to change tires for a better strategy than going soft for a very long time. But it's him to the side, it's the Alfa Romeo to the side here in Abu Dhabi. back to the front as Tijani now 6 tenths behind Destroyer Jack and will be looking to make the move. Merc is just going to sit behind and watch them squabble in front. He will have the DRS to keep himself close to them as Prezi Prez now and Coffee fighting. Here we go now. Viva 2 tenths behind Prezi Prez. He's going to use that DRS. Prezi is also going to have the DRS, but can Viva have the slipstream, have the pace to get ahead of him? No, he can't. He's going to hold behind Prezi Prez. Prezi is going to attack Coffee, going for the dummy on the inside. Coffee doesn't fall for it as Tijani now going around the outside of Destroyer Drag. CPI Mateus with the fastest lap. Can Destroyer Drag fight it down the inside? No, we can't. He's going to hold it back as Mr. P now puts himself in P level, getting ahead of Stickman, looking to claw back after getting damaged in the incident with Pesci. 3 tenths now, Pesci Prez right behind Coffee, can't get that move done, but Viva is going to be putting pressure on the Mercedes driver. Can he get ahead of the Mercedes driver? No, he can't, and they are going to be how they are for the last few laps. Who can get the move done? Who can break the deadlock between those drivers? As Merc is just going to sit behind with his hard tires. He knows that his tires will be getting better as the race goes on. As Prezi Prez now has gone for a spin, and that is not what the Mercedes driver would want here, and is now down to P8. As we go back to the front, United Pesci getting ahead of Prezi Prez, will be going into the pits. It looks like he did get damage, and now that's 3-second penalty on top of that for him, and it's not what he would need, not at all. As 3 tenths now, Destroyer Jack right behind Tijani, using that DRS but low on the ERS, and that is not what he would need. As Merc now can attack him, we'll see right behind here, but it's a safety car as Wilco has DNF, and CPI Mateus got past him, and there he is. Wilco has DNF close to the corner that Latifi DNF back in 2021. And here we go now. It's a safety car. CPI Mateus gonna use that opportunity and go into the pit. When will the rest of the drivers decide to go into the pits? The hard tire runner of Merc, will he decide to go into the pits or stay longer on this source hard tires? This choice to choose what strategy will be the correct strategy to go on as we speak, because it's a safety car now. Most of the drivers surely will be coming into the pit, because it will be about 11 laps done by the time the safety car has come in to restart the race. And it will be better to go into the pit, especially for the top 3. They do have the gap of 6 seconds to Coffee, who is P6, who surely will be watching their decision in front, and will be going into the pits or not going into the pits, depending on what the drivers in front do. As Merc, Tijani, and Destroyer Jack. Tijani into the pit, Destroyer Jack into the pit. Merc is going to keep going on those hard tires. Coffee is going to go into the pit. Viva is going to follow him. Energy down into the pit. Angry Badger into the pit. Is United Pesci going to go into the pit, or is he going to decide to go long just like Merc? No, he doesn't. He's going to go and he's going to tuck right behind Merc. They're going to have the same length of tires, same amount of tires. Merc with 8 laps and Pesci with 7 laps. And they're going to be the drivers who are going to be squabbling in front. He's surely going to get ahead of Tijani and Destroyer Jack easy as they are coming out to the pits. Are they going to get ahead of Pesci when he comes out? Yes, they are. He's going to have to tuck behind them in P4. And Merc will be under pressure from the drivers behind who have come into the pits, as most drivers will be coming into the pits. Also, the championship contender of UFRL Merc and UFRL Mr. P going for those soft tires, and surely will be coming into the pits again for a change of the tires. But he needs aggression. He needs to make places in this race if he wants to keep his championship alive. With CPM and Tails right at the back, one driver that will be happy that a safety car has come out now, because with the drive-through he did fall a lot way back, and now he's going to catch up back to the pack again and can now race when the race resumes. With 14 drivers left, 2 drivers have their nets, 1 in the pits, and 1 was Wilco going in the third sector that brought out the safety car that we are in right now. And the safety car surely will be coming into the pits in lap 11 if CP and Mateus can catch up to the pack at the end of the next lap. Before the end of the next lap, let's see what the McLaren is doing. We're going to have to push hard to catch up to them. Hello Lolo in the chat, good to see you here for the first time. Hopefully you can show up here a lot of times more. Happy to see you. Happy to see your new faces here every time. Most of the drivers have bunched up, with just a few are waiting for to join the pack. And the race should be starting on lap 11 if CP and Mateus can't join us before the end of lap 10. If not, it will be starting on lap 12. And we'll be having 17 laps of racing to decide the winner here. Merck surely will want to be finishing ahead of Mr. Prem, who does not have the best of races. But can he recover his back? He did have a good recovery in Singapore, coming all the way from getting wing damage, going into the pits, all the way to the back, coming all the way back to P3, right behind his championship contender, and also getting the fastest lap. Can he do it this time around? With more drivers on track and more top drivers on track, it's going to be a very difficult one for Mr. P to pull off. And CPI Mateos, the last driver now that we're waiting on to join the pack. And if he can join the pack before the third sector, we will be starting the race on lap 11. But if he can't, we're gonna have to wait for lap 12. It's been a good start to the race. Let's check the position changes. Tijani making 2 places, Pesci losing 2 places. Coffee, Viva, Energy Dan, and Angry Badger all making places 1, 4, 5, 5 respectively. Algeria staying where he started. Dog losing 2 places. Pesci still staying where he started. It's a Pete, the biggest loser of all, losing 7 places from where he started. Who want to recover like that. Stickman gaining 2, and CPI Mateos, who started at the back, I believe he had a qualifying ban, starts now up into P14, gaining 2 places, and surely he's still at the back, but surely will want to be clawing back to the front. With those hard tires, we'll see if he will go long in this race. He may be right to the end. And we're only 2 drivers now with penalties. 3 seconds for Algeria and 3 seconds for Press. The rest of the drivers, no penalties for them, as they can race without worries in their hand over penalties. But here we are now, back to the race, and CPI Mateos will surely be joining us the pack at the end of this lap, and surely the race will resume at the end of the next lap. Safety car in this lap. Safety cars coming in this lap. That's one of the latest safety cars I've ever seen, as Merck now is put in a precarious position. When is he going to go? He's taking his time, and he goes now. Here we go with the race resuming. Who is side by side? The Haas and the AlphaTauri. United Pesci taking the advantage side by side now with Destroyer Drag. They don't make contact. Destroyer Drag still keeping his lead ahead of Pesci in P3. Pesci can't get that move done. He's on all tires. Destroyer Drag with the better grip. And now the other Haas driver, of course, he's going to try and attack Pesci round the outside. He does have the better thing. Grip does have the better traction, but can he get that move done? Viva is going to join this fight to make it a 3-way fight as he goes on the grass. Fearless from Viva, but it looks like he was pushed on the grass and forced him to get 3-second penalty. But Energy Dan from nowhere is going to make this a 3-way battle as he dies on the inside. Pesci now losing places, squabbling the drivers are, as lots of places being switched around. Energy Dan now fighting with Coffee in front. Pesci has the best view of it. They are side by side. Who is going to be front there? Mr. P now already up to P9 as Pesci is losing places on the outside. Viva is going to go. Pesci on those old tires. He's losing places now as CPI Mercedes down the inside of Algeria. They are not waiting for the DRS. The drivers are getting the move done. Is the Mercedes going to fight it back on the Williams driver? Oh my God, almost making contact. Yes, they make contact. CPI Mercedes has gone around. Press making contact with CPI. I believe that was Algeria making contact with CPI and has spun him round. And here we go now. Tijani, 2 tenths behind Merck, who's on 11 lap old hard tires, and surely this wasn't the strategy to be on. But here we go now. This Red Bull putting pressure on him. Good to be made at the back. And Mr. Poem now already up to P8, going down the inside of Angry Badger on those soft tires. He will want to push. He will want to get the move done because surely he will be going into the pits one more time. As Tijani now has gotten ahead of Merck, but they are side by side. Merck trying his best to defend from the Red Bull, but not enough grip. He's also going to be compromised. And now Destroyer Track attacking, gaining as the wheels turn around side by side with Merck now. And before they get to the chicane, he is ahead. But can he attack the Red Bull of Tijani? They are side by side. Tijani keeping him on the outside. Destroyer Jack trying to fight it, but he's going to have to hold it back on those medium tires. Better grip than the driver in front. As Merck now has dropped down to PD. Coffee now is going to be the next driver to attack the Aston Martin. Going down the inside of our championship leader. Is he going to be ahead of him? Yes, he is. Merck now has now dropped to P4. And Viva is also going to take this opportunity. Viva is also going to attack Merck. We're side by side now. Can Merck defend this? Losing places now. The championship leader, the driver who was leading this race for most of the time, is now compromised with those old tires as Mr. P now up to P7 as Merck couldn't. Viva couldn't get the move done on Merck as the race goes on now. Tijani in front, 4 tenths ahead of Destroyer Drag, and the race is spicy. Perez now 2 tenths behind. Alger is still trying to get the move done on the Williams driver as energy down now, and Mr. Quim squabbling with energy down and lets his teammate through as Dog will be going into the pits now. CPI Matthias, very unlucky race for him so far. Can he claw back? It will be very difficult to do as Mr. Quim now side by side with his teammate just let him through, making sure that he doesn't fight with him. He knows that Mr. Quim is in the championship fight. He sees Mr. Best Championship contender squabbling in front with Viva. Viva is going to get ahead of Merck, putting himself in P4, and now the championship contenders are going to be wheel to wheel as Merck now is going to try to fight it back, but he's going to have to hold back. Tijani and Destroyer Drag getting the move done on him, but Tijani is going to fight it back with the DRS. He's going to activate his DRS. He's not going to use his DRS, so he's not going to gain on Destroyer Drag enough. He's going to cut out of the slip chain to cool down his car as Merck now 1/10 behind Viva. Mr. P now side by side with Merck, and it's going to get ahead of the championship leader. Mr. P is going to lead Merck now in P5, Merck in P6. These two drivers will still have to pit in this race, and we'll see how their strategy goes on. The championship race is on now as Tijani is 3 tenths behind Destroyer Jack, and can he get that move done? Back to Angry Badger, 2 tenths behind Pesci on those old hard tires, and surely he will have the better grip, surely he will have the better pace to get past the hard driver, as you can see already. Gaining as they get through the final corner, and will we get ahead of Pesci when they get that DRS? Back to the front now. Tijani and Destroyer Drag who've been squabbling all race, and we see what they can do. Tijani in the Red Bull putting pressure on the sister car of the AlphaTauri. He's now going to have that DRS, and he's now going to chase to try and get past him in front, activating the DRS, activating that DRS, gaining on the AlphaTauri. He's going to twist to the left. He's going to take his time, going to tuck right behind the AlphaTauri and wait to the next corner so he knows that he does have the DRS going into the hairpin. The AlphaTauri is going to defend this. Coffee now getting overtaken by Viva, who puts himself in PD, but Tijani is going to have that DRS and is going to get the move done on the AlphaTauri. He's gaining on the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri is going to keep in front. He can't get the move done, and Viva also is going to keep the house behind. Energy down now, getting ahead of Merck, and Merck losing even more places, and surely should be going into the pits on this lap because he's losing too many places, and that is not what he will need for his championship fight. Back to the front, Tijani and Perez gets ahead of CPI Mateos. They are squabbling at the back. Here we go now. CPI Mateos side by side with CPI Mateos, making that move, getting it done, and putting himself in P12. Stickman will be next on his list of drivers he will need to get through to catch back to the front. As 2 tenths now, Tijani right behind Destroyer Track, and he's going to have that DRS. He's going to have the opportunity again to try and get ahead of the quick moving AlphaTauri. He does have the better ERS. He does have the advantage. And when is he going to get that move done? His tires will be getting better than the medium runner in front of him. And when is he going to get... Tijani 2 tenths behind Destroyer Track now. Is he going to get that move done? Trying to make the dummy down the inside, switching to the outside, trying to have a better entry and better exit in the corner. And he's going to have that DRS, but can he gain on the AlphaTauri? No, he can't. He's going to have to hold it back, not close enough, and he's taking his time, recharging that ARS to make sure he surely can get the move done later. But Mr. Poem down the inside of Coffee now. They are going to squabble side by side. Mr. Poem now puts himself in P4. What a comeback of a drive from the Alfa Romeo driver. And next is going to be Viva. CPI Mateos now gets ahead of Algiri round the outside going into the airpin. Algiri going a little bit wide there, almost losing the back end, but he keeps his car clean and he stays in the race. Very close call from Algiri in front as Tijani now 4 tenths behind Destroyer Drag, and he's going to be gaining on Destroyer Drag. He's going to have that DRS as Coffee now also 3 tenths behind Mr. Poem. His tires will start to get better than the soft run out of Mr. Poem in front of him, and we'll see if he can get the move done. Mr. Poem already squarely there, and as you can see, Coffee gaining on him in every corner. And will he get that move done when he has the DRS? Tijani though, 2/10 behind Destroyer Drag, and surely this will be the time, this will be the moment. Activating his DRS activated, accelerated, gaining, switching to the left, side by side they go, and going into the hairpin, to the chicane. He is going to get ahead of Destroyer Jack, but Destroyer Jack is going to have that DRS to try and fight it back. With the AlphaTauri, uses DRS to try and fight it back on him. He's going to, and can Tijani defend from him? Yes, he can. He does have the pace to keep the AlphaTauri behind. As Stickman and Percy Press now squabbling at the back, as Stickman is going to make contact with, and he's going to get a 3-second penalty, and here they go now, squabbling at the back, as there's another driver has retired. Percy Press out of the race, and that's another safety car. That's another safety car coming out of the hairpin. It looks like Percy Press lost it and going into the wall, and one Mercedes is out, and the other Mercedes just passed where he DNF'd. That will be the end for Percy Press in the race, and another safety car has come out. A safety car that Merc will not be loving, not at all, because his championship contender is ahead of him now and will be going into the pits to change those tires. Merc surely has to go into the pits for a new set of tires. But the question is, what are they going to go for? Mr. P just one place ahead of Merc now, and the championship fight is on. Mr. P going for? The medium tires. Merc will also go for the medium tires, and it's going to be a race right to the end as Coffee and Energy Dan decide to stay out on those old medium tires that might not be the best option, as we saw how much time Pesci and Merc lost staying out on old hard tires. We'll see if they can fight on those medium tires with a safety car now. The pack should be already bunched up at the end of this lap, because everybody has gone into the pits. Everybody that wants to go into the pits has surely gone into the pits now. And at the end of lap 18, surely that will be when the safety car will be coming in. Intense race here, as Energy Dan now and Coffee will lead the way for the rest of the drivers, but they do have old alien tires. Tijani and Destroyer Jack, a very interesting race, very interesting squabble they've had in the front. Destroyer Jack now going on those hard tires, who will be a sitting duck from the drivers behind, who all are on medium tires. He's going to have to defend hard for the first few laps when his tires are trying to heat up. The medium tires will surely be heating up faster than the hards of Destroyer Jack, but we'll see what he can do to defend from the drivers behind him. 5 drivers now with penalties, and we'll see what they all have. 3-second penalty for every driver that has a penalty, and that will be looming over their head. Mr. P does have a penalty, so 3-second penalty for him. This is not what he would need in his championship fight against Merc, who's right behind him. They will be going right to the end, and if he's not 3 seconds ahead of Merc when they cross the start-finish line on the last lap of the race, Merc is going to finish ahead of him and extend that championship lead with 1 round to go. Mr. P will want to push now and pull away from the Aston Martin driver who currently sits right behind him. As the pack has bunched up now, and surely the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap, and racing can be resumed. We will have 10 laps of racing when the race resumes, and we'll see who is going to be your winner here today. Interesting call from Doug as he decides to go into the pits for the soft tires. We'll see if that works out for him. We'll see how that works out for him. He has joined the pack again now. And can he use those soft tires to make moves on the drivers in front of him, especially Stickman? Him and Stickman have had lots of squabbles this year, and this is his opportunity. We'll have the better tires at the start, with start of the race, but right at the end, Stickman tires will be coming into play, and Doug will have to defend from that. But first, he will need to get ahead of Stickman, Archery, and Angry Badger. It will be difficult to try and get ahead of CP and Mateos, who also will be trying to make moves on the drivers in front of him. But here you go now. Safety car is going to be coming in on this lap. And here we go. We do have drivers who have been squabbling all season. Coffee is going to be leading the way, looking for his first win in UFRL. Oh, here we go now. Destroyer Jack Tijani been squabbling all race. Mr. Perm and Merck, the championship contender, squabbling. And United Pesci and CPI, the two drivers that we expect to be in front every race, are going to be squabbling. It's going to be an interesting race to the end here with 10 laps to go. When is the driver in front of Coffee going to go? He's going to take his time. He knows that he does have those old tires. He wants to make sure that the drivers behind him don't get a good run on him at the restart of this race. He trusted his tires to try and go to the end. Might not be the best strategy call, but it's a strategy call that he decided to go on. And here we go now. Coffee restarts the race, and here we go. He's going to lead the way. Dan is going to try and attack Coffee in front, but he can't get that move done. Squabbling at the back. Mr. P 2 times behind Viva, but no position changes just yet, as Dan is going to be squabbling with Tijani, trying to get ahead of him, as Destroyer Jack now losing places to Viva, as Algeria has spun at the back, and it's going to be losing places and dropping all the way back now. Here we go now. The drivers bunched up. The Aston Martin of Merck side by side now with Pesci. Is that Pesci will Destroyer Jack? He's trying to get ahead of Destroyer Jack. Can't get ahead of Destroyer Jack, but his contender, Mr. Poem, making places already up to P4. Round the outside of Tijani. Can he get that move done? Yes, he can. Tijani's still trying to stick around the outside. And here we go now. They're going to be side by side. Can Mr. Poem fight against the Red Bull, who is ahead of him? Does he have the straight line speed to do it? No, he doesn't. But his teammate, though, keeping Tijani in mind, who's going around the outside. Mr. Poem is going to go down the inside of his teammates. And Dan Energy Dan losing 2 places in one corner. Viva is going to join the fight now, and he's going to go around the outside of Energy Dan. They slightly make contact. Viva almost goes wide, and he's still going to be behind Energy Dan. Destroyer Jack now has dropped down to P6 on those hard tires. He's going to be struggling for the first few laps of the race, as they are squabbling right in front, as CPI Mateos now in P7, under pressure from Pesci, who's under pressure from UFRL America, our championship leader, who will not like to be seen. Mr. P all the way in P3, and now his next target is going to be Tijani, who's pulling away, but Tijani now putting pressure on Coffee, who's on old tires, 11 lap old mediums, and surely can't keep him behind. Here we go now, almost too wide in 2 places. Destroyer Jack is going to try and stick down the inside. He's down the inside of the Alfa Romeo driver, and oh my god, 3 wide they go, and they keep it clean. Destroyer Jack makes the move. CPI Mateos also joining this, getting ahead of Destroyer Jack, and is now going to attack Viva in front. Can he get ahead of Viva going into the chicane? And then we go now, side by side they go. Viva on the outside, and he makes contact with Pesci. Pesci hits CPI Mateos, and that's the 3rd time that CPI Mateos has been hit on track, and it's not his day, not at all. The drivers have not made it easy for him today, as now Mr. Poem puts himself in P2, exactly what he will need for his championship. And Merck now not wasting any time, trying to get these moves done, trying to catch a championship contender in front. It was looking like Merck was going to finish on the podium in this race, and now he's going in a very precarious position now. He's going to have to chase the drivers in front. Mr. P is going to use this opportunity now to pull away from Merck. He does have that 3-second penalty, so he will need to pull away, as CPI Mateos now, who Agibata has gone for a spin. CPI Mateos and Stickman getting ahead of him. A lot of drivers going for spins here. 3 seconds now for Energy Dan, as we have more moves being made at the back, as CPI Mateos gets ahead of Dog, puts himself in P8, and his next target now is going to be Destroyer Jack on those hard tires, who haven't done him any favors at the restart of this race, but he's going to try and get the move done later. Here we go now. Viva in a hard sandwich. Is he going to get ahead? He has a better entry than Coffee with the better grip, the better traction. He's going to get ahead of one Haas, but the other Haas now getting ahead of his teammates and trying to get ahead of Viva. They're going to be side by side now, and here we go, going into the chicane. Viva is going to defend on the inside. Pesci going around the outside, but can Viva keep the Haas driver behind? Yeah, no, he can't, as the Haas driver of Pesci has put himself in front now. Merck in P4, as Viva losing place. It looks like he lost his spawn coming out of the chicane, and is now down to P9. Merck now in P4, and will be trying to catch his championship contender, who is pulling away here. Merck wouldn't want this to be happening. Will need to be 3 seconds behind Mr. P if he wants to beat Mr. P in this race, as Destroyer Jack going around the outside of Coffee on those old tires, who surely will be falling back, and the strategy is to stay out surely isn't working for the Haas driver now, who is now down to P6. As CPI Mateos is going to be the next driver to attack Coffee, but Coffee will be deciding to go into the pits. He's had enough of it, and he's going to go into the pits for new tires. Viva is also going into the pits after the contact with Pesci. I believe he might have had damage. He might be changing his wing. We're going to stick with him and see if he is changing his wing, because there's no fight currently on track. Is he changing his wing? No, he's not. He's just decided to go for soft tires, trying to go for the fastest lap. And here we go now, Merck. 9/10 behind Pesci. Want to use that DRS to try and get closer to Mr. P with that 3-second penalty, as Energy Dan now getting ahead of Viva in the pits. Tijani now 1.5 seconds ahead, and surely will be your race winner here if you can pull away from Mr. Poem. It's very difficult to catch that man who has had a very good race here in Abu Dhabi. But here we go now, Merck right behind Pesci. He's going to have that DRS while Pesci isn't. He's going to be gaining on the Haas driver, but can he get the move done before they get to the hairpin? Gaining on him now, diving down the inside, and he is going to get ahead of Pesci. And his next target now is his championship contender. 2 seconds up the road, and can Merck get that move done on him? Yellow flags at the back as Angry Badger now has retired from the race with 7 laps to go here now. Mr. P will need to try and pull away from Merck, but it's looking like something that he cannot do. Can Merck even get ahead of him? Does he need that penalty to beat Mr. P in this race, or will he just get ahead of him on track? Fastest lap now, 125.2. He is flying in that Aston Martin, and he's chasing Mr. P in front, who is under pressure from the championship leader of UFRL, Merck. Tijani now looking like he's going to be your race winner today. 2 seconds ahead of Mr. Poem now. No pressure on him. All he has to do is keep that car straight, and he is going to be your winner here today. 7/10 now, Pesci right behind Merck, and he's going to have that DRS, but not enough DRS to try and get the move done on the Aston Martin driver. The yellow flags at the back of Andy Vargas' car came out right back out, but he's going to be retiring now. Any more squabbles at the back as we have Coffee, who has gone in for new tires, attacking Energy Dan, trying to go around the outside. He does have the grip, but he can't get that done. He's going to try to switch back though. He's going to have the DRS, and he's going to be gaining on Energy Dan, and he's going to switch to the left, and surely before they get to the chicane, he's going to be ahead of Energy Dan. But PPI Mateos, Pesci trying to attack Merck in front, can't get that move done, as Coffee now has gotten ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver and is going to try and pull away from him with those soft tires. Back to the front now, 9/10. Merck has caught up to Mr. P and is going to have that DRS on his championship contender. And here we go with a few laps to go. They are going to squabble as Energy Dan fighting with Coffee. He does have the DRS, even with those medium tires. He is making the move. Side by side they go into turn 15. Who's going to get ahead? Coffee on the outside. They make slight bit of contact, but they are still going here. Unbelievable squabble between these two drivers, and Coffee now puts himself in P9. Energy Dan is not going to give him the leeway of just driving away. He's going to put pressure on him as Pesci is putting pressure on the championship leader of Merck. He's going to have that DRS, but Merck is also going to have that DRS on Mr. P, who's trying to cut the slipstream, swerving from left to right. Merck though still trying to defend from Pesci, who's flying down the outside, and now his next target is going to be Mr. P in P2. He's going to have that DRS on the Alfa Romeo driver in front, who's also low on that DRS. And here we go, activating his DRS, and DRS accelerated and gaining, switching to the left on the inside, side by side. The Haas gets in front of Mr. Poem, and now the championship contenders are now close to each other again. And who will be getting it from? Pesci has gotten rid of 2 of them and will be trying to pull away from the championship contenders though. Mr. Poem will still be fighting hard to make sure that he tries to finish ahead of Pesci, so he doesn't have that pressure from Merck behind. CPI Mateos though clawing back 1.3 seconds right behind them, and after getting hit so many times, the McLaren driver is not giving up. He's going to join this fight now to make it a 5-way battle to the end, because Destroyer Track is also going to burn in this fight. And here we go with a few laps to go. Can these drivers give us a massive amount of entertainment as Energy Dan still chasing Coffee 6/10 behind? His tires will be getting better right at the end, and can he get the move done on the Haas driver? And here we go now, Mr. P 9/10 behind Pesci, losing time to him, and is not going to have that DRS. And Merck is going to use this opportunity to get ahead of Mr. P. He's going to have the DRS going into the hairpin. He's going to have to use it, but no, he doesn't have that DRS. He's losing, but CPI Mateos down the inside gets ahead of Merck. And now CPI Mateos up to P4. Next is going to be the Alfa Romeo of Mr. P. He's going to have that DRS. CPI Mateos and Pesci putting pressure on the championship contenders here. As you can see, Mr. P flashing in front, and it's going to be a sitting dog for the fast-moving McLaren, who is gaining on him. And Pesci trying to use this opportunity to pull away and get that P2, because Tijani is looking like he's going to be a race winner here today. Pesci does have the pace to pull him in, but does he have the time to get ahead of the Red Bull in front? CPI Mateos, though, 5 tenths behind the UFRL Mr. P in the Alfa Romeo, and surely he's going to have the DRS to try and get ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Mark is just going to tuck right behind CPI Mateos to look for the opportunity to get ahead of Mr. P, because a 3-second penalty can always be appealed, and he will want to finish ahead of Mr. P on track. As CPI Mateos now right behind the Alfa Romeo, gaining on the Alfa Romeo, and surely will be getting ahead of him when they do get that DRS. CPI Mateos' next target will be Pesci in P2, is dominating the move down the inside, but Mr. P doesn't fall for it. But here we go now. He's going to have that DRS. He's going to activate the DRS. He's not going to use his DRS, but he's going to be gaining on the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo is going to switch to the left side, trying to cut the C-stream. He's going to use that DRS and going to swoop on the outside and gets ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver now. And Merck and Mr. Perm back to where they've been all race after the second safety car. And can Merck finally get the move done on Mr. Puem? He has been held back by CPI and Pesci, also trying to get their moves done. And Mr. Puem now is going to have that DRS and can help him defend from his championship contender behind. With 3 laps here to go, it is getting to be a spicy one at the end of this race here in Abu Dhabi. In round 11 here in the inter-tier, these drivers are not giving up. They're showing us a lot of entertainment. And now, can Merck get what he needs to get done, beating Mr. P on track, or can Mr. P hold the Aston Martin back? CPI Mateos, though, and Pesci, their squabble begins as Tijani has gone for a spin, and he loses the lead. A driver that looked like he was going to be a winner here today has now dropped to P5 after spinning coming out of the final corner. Not simply lovely stuff here from Tijani, but can Pesci now make it 3 wins from 4, 2 wins from 2, and Pesci is ahead of CPI Mateos. These two again, the two that we expect to be in front, are squabbling in front with 2 laps here to go. Can Pesci defend from CPI Mateos behind? And here we go now. He's going to have enough DRS to defend. Can he get the move done as Merck now gets ahead of Mr. P? Exactly what the championship leader needs. As now he leads and is going to pull away in the championship by 1 point when they finish the race here today. And that is not what Mr. P would want. Not at all. He's going to be 6 points ahead going into the final race if Mr. P doesn't have a say about that. But back to the front with a few laps to go. CPI Mateos and United Pesci squabbling every race that they get into the inter-tier. And here we go again in Abu Dhabi. The McLaren and the Haas driver are not giving up. They want to get that win. They both are hungry for wins in every race. With a DNF for CPI Mateos in the last race, he will want to come back with a vengeance, as Pesci took the win from him last race. But here we go now in the penultimate lap of the race. It's a 4-way battle for the win. The Red Bull driver of Tijani will not be a happy man. It was looking like was going to be your winner, but now he's under pressure in P5 from the driver in P6 of Destroyer Drag, whose tires surely now will be getting better than the mediums in front. As 3 tenths now, CPI Mateos right behind Pesci, who's low on that ERS. CPI making sure to save up that ERS for the first few laps of this race. He's going to be gaining on Pesci, and before they get to the chicane, is he going to get ahead, or is he going to wait and get that move done going into the airport? He's going to dive down this side. No, he's not. He's going to dummy it. Pesci is not going to fall for it, and here we go now. Going into the hairpin, is he finally going to get that move done, or can Pesci keep his car in front? Because when they're done with this race, with this lap, it's going to be 1 more lap to go. CPI Mateos going down the inside of Pesci and takes the lead of the race. Pesci not fighting it too hard because he does know that he does have 1 more opportunity, 1 more lap to make it 3 wins from 3 for the Haas driver. And here we go now, finishing lap 28 of this race. It's a four-way battle for the win. Merck surely will beat Mr. P in this race now, as we'll see how that will go. And here we go to start the finish line. We're going to have one lap of racing to decide the winner here in Abu Dhabi. Is it going to be CPI Mateus? Is it going to be Pesci? The first overtaking zone is down into turn 4. Will Pesci get that move done, not needing DRS? No, he's going to hold it back and going to use that DRS on the McLaren driver in front. As here we go now, Merck far away from Mr. P to make sure that he does finish ahead of Mr. P in this race. But Mateus not far away from Pesci. Here we go now, activating his DRS and his DRS, gaining on the McLaren in front, who's trying to cut the slipstream, gaining the Haas driver, trying to put pressure on the McLaren. He's going to go wide, make sure he has the better entry and the better exit coming out of the chicane. And here we go now, down to the hairpin. It's going to be one more opportunity for Pesci in P2 to get the move done. His DRS activated, accelerated, gaining, switching to the right. Mateus is going to defend on the inside. Pesci is going to try to go around the outside, but not enough grip for the Haas driver. The McLaren is going to stick in front. It looks like the McLaren is going to be a winner here today. Of all the controversy in this race, of all the drama, of all the safety cut, everything that's going to happen, CPI Mateus from the back is looking like he's going to be a winner here today. He had a qualifying ban. He started at the back in P16. He's been hit multiple times, but the McLaren didn't give up. And when he crossed the start-finish line, CPI Mateus is going to be your winner here today. United Press is going to finish in P2. Mark in P3. Tijani is going to finish up in P4. Estrella Drac in P5. Mr. Poem is going to fall down to P6 after those penalties. Dog is going to finish in P7. Stickman in P8. Coffee P9. Energy Dan P10. And Viva is going to come in P11 in this race. As CPI Mateus, your winner here today. Definitely, surely, your driver of the day. Last to first challenge for the McLaren driver. He got it right at the end. Pesci gave him a fight, but he couldn't get it done. The championship leader finishing on the podium right ahead of his contender, and he's going to extend his lead in the championship. A good recovery from Mr. Poem, but he did have those penalties that's going to allow Tijani, was looking like going to be a winner here today, but he made a mistake on lap 27 coming out of the final corner, and he's now going to finish in P4. A very, very interesting race here. Very exhilarating finish right at the end, but there you go. The driver of the day is going to be CPI Mateus. An exemplary job, top job from him. Wow, that was absolutely interesting. I was excited for this race, and my excitement was proven right as the drivers put up an exemplary amount of entertainment. Wow. I am absolutely exhausted from that race. What a race that was. What a race that was. There you go. The McLaren is going to stand at the top step of the podium. It's going to be accompanied by the winner and the man in P2 from last week. This time, no mistake made from CPI Mateus. And he's going to stand at the top step of the podium to win here in Abu Dhabi. His team celebrates. And we know the champagne is going to taste the best in the McLaren camp. CPI wins here in Abu Dhabi. That was a good one. Really, really good one. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you everybody for showing up that showed up today. And who are we going to be raiding today? Let's find someone to raid. That was a good one. That was a really good race. I enjoyed that thoroughly. I want to raid Tiamat. Why not? Oh no, it's not on. She's not on live actually. I know what to rate, don't worry. Thank you guys for tuning in. I have been Willie Fernandez as always. Next race is going to be tier 1 on Monday. We're going to have Viva back on comms. But the championship is going to be coming to a beginning of the end. With Mr. P and Pesci squabbling in that one. We'll see how that is going to finish off. I'm going to rate my good friend Game Tech LV like we did last time. Just going to rate him once more. Thank you guys for tuning in. I've been Willie Fernandez. We have been UFRL. And good night.